Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the YouTube Livey. First and foremost, shout out to everybody who's watching this live, watching this replay. We appreciate you. We love you. All that great stuff. Episode 90 dropped today.
Crazy.
All right. 90. That means we got 10 more. Well, depending on when you watch this. We have 10 more episodes to the 100th episode. Super fire. I'm excited about that, right? So go check that out because we talked about authenticity, vulnerability, ideation. I think that's how you pronounce the word. Try to have semi-big words. You feel me? You
like
feel me?
That's a good one.
Semi-big words.
I like that.
Outworking your competition. I think it's about it. I think that covered everything. I believe so. But
With the exception of the after show, there's always a little special.
Oh yeah.
bonus
The
happening
after
on
show.
the after show.
Yeah, y'all
After
check
show
that out
vibes.
tomorrow. The after show comes out tomorrow, but y'all check that out. First and foremost, how are you feeling, Moose? How are we?
I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you for asking. Had a lot of errands to do today, and just taking care of business out here. I got a big appointment coming up in July, so just making sure I am prepared for that. And excited to be on the live and bless the people with some good information.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that it's still bright out there. I just want to put that out there.
Crazy at 8:00. Yeah.
When does it, so is it officially summer right now? Like today was the first day?
June 21st. Yeah, that's right.
It's today.
Technically, yeah, you're right. Is it June or July? Let me just Google it.
I really think it's June. Why
First
would
day
July?
of-
Why would July 1st be summer?
Yeah, Tuesday, June 1st. Yeah, you're right. 21st. Excuse me. Yeah, today.
He's like, yeah, technically. I was like, no, it is the 21st. No, technically it's the 21st.
I just haven't answered that question since I was probably like in, I don't know, like when is it? When do we take Earth Science? Oh, in high school. I feel
You
like
don't
I haven't
recognize
answered-
seasons?
No, I do, but just the actual dates. Like when you live in New York, you're forced to do it by the temperature. Because sometimes it'll snow in April and it'll be hot in October. So it's just a little weird. But no, for sure. No, officially, first day of summer, June 21st, y'all. Just mark the calendar.
Talk that talk. Shout out to David. We see you with the super chat. And if by any chance, if you are watching this live or watching this replay and you feel like leaving us a tip, right? Like tipping the creator, you could hit the super chat if you're watching this live or the super thanks if you're watching this replay. We appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who's joining us. And do me a favor, another favor. Like and share, okay? Like and share. That's a whole vibe, okay? We need that. Like and share. Moose, what are we talking about?
Man, so this is actually the second straight week that our live topic came directly from the podcast. We were discussing something in our pre-show, not the after show, but the show that we have before the actual show to prepare for the show.
Yes.
Just a whole lot of shows happening. But
A lot of shows.
we were in discussion and we were like, man, you know what? We should probably talk about the difference between what's a boss and what's a leader. And of course, when you're not paying attention and you're just involved with culture, we use a lot of culture examples because of our skin color and our background and ethnicities. Quite frankly, that's what a lot of us connect with and relate with the most. And of course, it's a cultural phenomenon now. So there's a term that a lot of people are often using, which is a boss, right? If you follow Rick Ross or a few other people, that concept of being a boss and putting up your own money and being the end all be all, that definitely starts to grow on you as something that you might aspire to want to become or grow into or be a little bit more of if you're already in that position. And when we start watching and studying some of the more successful people in the world, companies, organizations, and brands, you'll start to notice that their talk is slightly different. It's not used just for marketing purposes. They talk about growing successful brands and businesses through the essence of leadership, team, and different strategies that they come up with to help their people be more involved and grow and develop. So it's only right that we really dive into this and talk about the difference between what is a boss and what is a leader. Because if you think about it, and I started to kind of go there a little bit as I was preparing the email for the live, and I was like, not for nothing though, to be a devil's advocate to my own topic, I feel like sometimes you need to have the boss approach. There's probably a time in every journey where you need to have that boss approach, which is, I'm gonna have to do it. And then of course you grow into that leadership role. So yeah, I imagine there's a little bit of both that are required, but there's a substantial difference between the two. And if we're gonna be out here growing successful brands and businesses, either online or offline, especially in this case as well, we gotta know the difference and know which one is more true to us so that we don't play out of pocket. So yeah.
I agree. So before we get into this real conversation, drop in the comments or the chat, what do you think is the difference between boss and leader? Okay, boss and leader, what is there different? Is there a difference, right? For me, and let me go back to me. For me, right, I can say it in a very simple way. Mm-hmm. One disregards team, and one is all about team.
We're gonna start with the spice right off the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a different definition. I had a Google definition.
Come on with the Google. Come on with the Google.
Boy.
Yeah.
So it says here that a leader is an individual who possesses the ability to influence and inspire others towards the accomplishment of the goal, where a boss is an individual who is in charge of the employee or the organization.
So one has influence and the other one has charge?
Yeah, pretty much. So the main difference is, right, one inspires through fear,
okay,
and the other generates enthusiasm. So the other one is going to use more so fear and respect to really get what they're after, while the other is going to use that goodwill, giving people the benefit of the doubt, helping them to kind of believe in themselves more than they ever did to be able to accomplish greater results.
But I don't think, okay, so made up land, movie land, right? Okay. Yes. Boss, I feel like they're this big person that's like mean and just tells you what to do and like barks at you. Mm-hmm. Real life, I think they come in different ways. So you could have a really cuddly boss, right? You can have a very cuddly boss. You could have a funny boss. You can have the fear me boss. Mm-hmm. You can have a very passive boss. Like I don't think fear is fair to just put a blanket statement on it anymore, I'll say. Mm-hmm. I think it comes differently, but they still have that kind of same thing in common, where it's just like, from my experience, where it's not really, I'm not leading you to the next level. I'm making sure you complete the task. And there's a difference between that, right? Like, so, like a leader will always elevate you. in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not necessarily at that moment, but in that process somewhere, there is some type of elevation, whether from a team aspect, whether from an individual aspect, there is some type of guidance to the next level in some way, shape, or form. I believe the boss is only caring to complete the task by any means necessary. That can mean, all right, I may have to backstab somebody, but that doesn't necessarily mean by fear. That means I may make somebody have more work than the others, you know, and that doesn't make them fearful. It's just like by any means necessary. So that's how I feel it is. It's like if I have to think of really good leaders, it's just, no, I'm not gonna even put out names. I'm not gonna put out names. I'm not gonna clip me up. But if we really break it down, a leader is, I feel, will be side by side with you, and a boss would chill somewhere. I wouldn't necessarily say behind the desk anymore because that's
right.
That's different nowadays. But definitely chill somewhere. They would be chilling.
Yeah. No, it reminds me of. I'm sure everyone has seen that picture where they have. I guess it's an Asian picture. It might have even been from the Pharaoh's time or something like that, where it shows that a boss is, sitting on this. What would they call that? I don't know. Let's just imagine sitting on a chair. Yeah,
Throne.
sitting on a throne, and he's like directing his people to march forward, while the leader is actually out front pulling with the rest of his team. So I think that's definitely a traditional way to see it. I do want to ask this though, and I definitely want us to dive into it a little bit more, is there a season for each one? Is there a season for each one? Is there a season for somebody to say, I have to move as a boss, right? Or the characteristics of a boss. Maybe I want to drive or put fear and respect above people in being inspired by me. I want to make sure, is there a season where somebody should say, as long as people respect me, I don't care if I'm inspired by them, because whatever the case may be, right? And again, I want to play devil's advocate to it, because there's always maybe a time where you don't have a team or you don't have people that you're working with, and you need to go out and, like we've said, by any means necessary, get some wins under your belt to be in a position to even start hiring or bringing some people on board. So is there ever a season where we know that the leader, of course, is going to be the more liked person, the more appreciated person, the one that there's almost a human connection with, a relational connection with? But is that always the solution? Or is there a season where someone is, or maybe you start as a leader and have to jump to a boss because you were too friendly? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there ever a time where somebody should start thinking to themselves like, man, I think I've exhausted my nice guy card or my nice gal card by tippy-toeing too much into the leadership side of things, that I probably need to start separating myself or sacrificing certain things for the growth of where we're headed?
So I don't believe that there's seasons. I believe you could stay a leader and just check people.
Talk about that.
So, one, I don't believe you being a leader means you're a friend, right? But, you may have an individual or two that may make you look as an equal, like a peer, right? And there still has to be a level of respect. And so you may have to check somebody, but that doesn't necessarily mean you get on boss mode and be like, do this, do that, do this, and you disregard what you have to do or your role in the team of making sure that, everybody's guided the right way. Mm-hmm. You could check a person all day. It doesn't take you out of who you are. right? It doesn't take you out of your position in any way, shape, or form. Now, some people do mix that up and be like, they may check a person and they just stay in that check mode, right? But I think that has to deal with maturity of understanding your role. Like, I believe all leaders at some point make a mistake about playing a boss. Like, I believe that. I think not everybody is just like, I'm this perfect leader. Hello, how are you? Let me guide you to the next promised land. We're all going to do this together. You ready? Absolutely. You do this, you do that. You understand? I believe you do. If you don't, I'll repeat it 9 more times because I feel like you need that from me.
You understand?
Right? Like, no. I mean, I think all leaders make mistakes in some way, shape, or form, but it's a matter of, do you stay in those mistakes? And that's where it can be confusing of where is it a season, because some people just stay in that vibe and not go and flip back. If they were like a true leader, like some just stay in that, I got power. Like when I was in the Navy, there's a lot of people that took the boss role because they took a test and they got a certain position. And so now they have power. And so they play the boss role, right? Went into corporate, kind of the same situation where it's like you got promoted and now you feel boss-like, right? Or you've been in the situation, you've been in a company for mad long, you feel boss-like. Cool, right? For me, and I've been very vocal about this, I learned from bad leadership. I am not perfect, but I definitely am being intentional with doing the opposite of what I don't like in a leader, which then allows the team to see a different side of leadership. Because what they may see from an outside world of what leadership was before, and now you see a different change of, we're being heard, we're doing this as a group, we're doing, we're meeting up, everybody's valued. This is different compared to the no communication. I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta assume. Like, there's a lot of things. I used to so hate a person who would tell me what to do and didn't know how to do it. I hated that. I hated it. It was a common theme in the Navy. It's like, and that's normally when people just have power. Like, you can't tell me what to do if you don't know how to do it. And you don't even have a true vision of how it's supposed to look like. Maybe you're not techie. Maybe you don't know how to exactly do it, but at least you can guide me through vision of what it's supposed to be like. I can't stand when you just know the task and you just speak on the task and you don't know how to do it yourself. I hate that. It's a horrible thing.
Where do you think most people naturally start? Where do most people naturally start? Because I think back, I feel like I've always had leadership roles, right? And shout out to everyone in the comments, by the way. I love some of the things Max is sharing there, right? Max said, knowing when to wear both hats is kind of critical. Kat, we also see you in the chat. Shout out to Kat. Shout out to everyone. So dropping some comments there. But I'm wondering, right, like, is there a natural position or a kind of fit that someone starts at? Because I know for me, growing up playing sports, and I talked about this a little bit on the podcast, that what was celebrated as a leader in sports was a team player. So for somebody who grew up playing team anything, you know that the individualistic mentality of what a boss is like, that image that I talked about, the guy's just pointing the finger and demanding that everybody go towards what he wants or the direction that they want him to, that person isn't necessarily looked at as a successful leader, right? It's more of it's all about the team. I'm going to sacrifice myself if I have to, if we win, right? That is always the thing that is often portrayed to people in sports of what a good leader is like. So what if I didn't play a team sport? What if I grew up playing golf like Tiger Woods, or tennis like Venus Williams or Serena Williams, right? Like, does that almost make me a different type of boss or leader because I'm not relying on somebody else to help me accomplish anything? So it's not that I don't want to be that, but because of what I needed to survive in my lane, I had to become something else. So is there a natural fit or a wiring? Because look, we'll give you the spoiler right now. Without a doubt, a leader is the way to go, right? Yes. Without a doubt. If you're trying to accomplish something phenomenal, there are traits of a leader that we all know just really can rally a group of people to accomplish the impossible. When you look throughout history of people who have won wars and some of the craziest deficits, it's like people who are not supposed to win often win because of the leader that brought their people together and just made them believe in some things that, again, they didn't see in themselves. But I'm just saying, I feel that because our journeys are so different, there are some people who become more boss-like, thinking about themselves just because of their environment. Like, they couldn't rely on somebody else and they had to do it themselves to get to a certain point. And of course, that transition happens. But is that normal? Is that normal for someone to say, hey, I had to be a commanding, demanding, driven type of boss person, like growing up because of what I've been through or my environment, and now I have to make the transition? Or is it a result of maybe bad experiences, or someone did something to you so you want to get them back by, like this retaliation thing? What's the natural fit?
I think experiences and environment has a lot to do with just everything in life, like how you're made up, right? So that could play a role of your leadership qualities, right? Now, what I will say is I do believe some people are just naturally born like that. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but I do believe there are some that are naturally born leaders. Shout out to my Leos. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Just born like that, huh?
Just
out the womb, ready to be the president of the U.S. Like,
Facts.
Come on.
Facts.
Vote for me. Yeah.
Somebody look it up. Anyway, no, but but I do believe that, right? Now, of course, with anything that comes natural to us, we got to nurture it. We got to study a little bit more. We got to, cater to our natural skills that we have, right? Or natural skills they have. I'm not going to speak like it's me, but but so that has to happen. And then, of course, you do have, like you said, if certain people grew up a certain kind of way around a certain type of environment, that all molds us in different ways. Some may have to step up to the situation, and now that's all they saw for so many years. So it just carries on even when they are outside of that environment. They're like, oh no, what's up? What we doing? Well, I got it. Don't worry about it. Like, this ain't like, it's okay. We got it. It's okay. No. I got it. Right. So yes, I agree with you. Environment, experiences, situations, all molds us into good or bad leaders, and also good or bad followers.
Yeah. So let's talk good traits or traits of a leader, and some that are even not as sexy, because sometimes titles are a lot more sexy than responsibilities. Right, like to say someone is the CEO, like that's a sexy title. The responsibilities of a CEO, though, not, well, actually, I shouldn't have used that example. Bad example, y'all.
No,
Let me go on a
because you
different
set yourself up for that one. You setting.
I saw your face and it kind of reminded me. All right. Bad example. Let me go on a different example.
No, you could go on that example. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's just stay there. Let's
Stay
talk about that
right
for a second.
there. Stay right there.
So, but no, in short, titles are a lot more sexier than the responsibilities, right? Even when you think of, I hate to say it, but the president of the US, right? Everyone, depending on what side of the states you sit on, you're celebrating the victory, but now you're looking at gas prices like, hold up a second. Why did I vote this way? Can I take my vote back? Can I do a redo? Right. Responsibility is a whole nother game. So there are some traits that I think that every leader almost has to become just because of the role that they're in, right? And they're not always as attractive as we may think. And the first one that comes to mind is the becoming more selfless, right? Like having to consistently put your emotions maybe on the back burner, your needs on the back burner, and whether you have a say or not, to continue to put other people ahead of you because you're the leader. You have to look after others. You have to make sure that they're good, right? Quiet as kept, though, at some point, that's got to become exhausting. Like it's tough. Like we have personal needs too. So talk about some of those traits or characteristics of, say, leadership that aren't necessarily talked about because they slip under the title, but they're really tough to do. And how do we develop some of those responsibilities or maybe develop those characteristics, even if it's not how we were naturally developed, right? Or naturally grew up because of all the things we just talked about: environment, experiences, people that have come into our lives for good reason or for bad reason. How do we start to say, as someone who has never had to worry about anybody else, I'm now in a leadership position or grown into a leadership position, so I got to start putting the needs of other people ahead of mine. I have to start shedding opportunity or giving opportunity away, even if it means I have less to take for myself. Right? Those are like some tough things that are not often talked about. And it takes a level of maturity for someone to say, okay, I'm going beyond the title now, and I'm really going to maybe answer to the call. What was, yeah.
I think management of people is something that doesn't get discussed too much as far as leadership. Like it's there, like it's almost like you know it, but it's not really super guided until you tap extremely into it. Like then you hear about the assessment and things like that. You'll have different resources and tools once you're like, oh wait, we have a problem. Like there's a lot of people, or not even a lot of people. There's a group of people and they all different. And what I may say over here doesn't necessarily register over here. How am I supposed to handle this? Because I'm one way and I'm just assuming that I attract people who are the same way. So it makes life easier if I could lead people who are just like me, this, that, and the third. But that's not really the case. And it's not until you get... It's like boxing, right? It's more like that kind of saying of like, you're good until you get hit, right? Leadership is the same way. You could go through all the leadership training. You can read all the books. You can do all the things you need to do to prep for leadership. Until you have a group, until you have a team, you know nothing about leadership.
That's a good word.
You don't.
That's a good word.
And it's like, and that's why I believe in anything from kind of like a on-the-job training situation, whether it's leadership, whether it's an actual skill, whether it's, I don't know, rowing a boat, whatever, right? You could prep for so many things, read so many books. And it's like, you'll never be ready for having 9 people with all different personalities, all receiving information in different ways, all execute at different time points.
Stay right there though, because I think that's important. And shout out to Marky in the comments, right? Marky said you have to follow before you can lead in some cases. And I love that. I love that mentality of, yeah, you can read all the books, you can get all the information, but at some point you have to practice so that maybe you can preach. I don't know. I'm gonna just use those two words together. But what happens if you're in a leadership role and you experience something you've never been through before? Right? Like you're literally having to navigate something that you've never dealt with before. Like you have studied, you followed, you've gotten the opportunity to lead now. And I accept it. I'm doing the best that I can. But now I just got dealt a set of cards that I've never had to deal with before. I didn't read about this in a book nowhere. Yep. I didn't see a leader that I was following having to deal with something similar. But I'm in this position now and I have to figure it out myself. How do you navigate those times? Because I think that is going to bank or determine how a lot of people respond to you as a leader moving forward when you're navigating those crazy crisis moments of, okay, so what do you do now? I got my answer, but I'm curious to yours. Yeah.
So an instant answer is, even though they may not be in the same exact situation or ever dealt with that, still getting guidance from more elite leaders, like people who've been doing it, especially from, like, let's say you're a team of 10, let's go with a team of 30, 50, that like they may not have dealt with that, but they've dealt with something, you know? So definitely seek, guidance with that. But when it's all said and done, like, you have to trust your gut and you have to lean on your team. Even though they lean on you, you have to lean on your team as well and show that this is a together thing. I'm a guide. I'm gonna give the direction, but we have to do this together, because the only way we're gonna get through it is with all of us working together. So I'll say those are my two answers.
I love that. Yeah, Will dropped the bar in the comments too. Will said, we must understand how powerful we are, and that's not in a book. It's time to tap in. Leaders lead. Lead by example is the formulate answer. Okay, I like that. I like that. One of the things that I honestly have applied myself is I lean on the truth. I lean on the truth because it's easy to be in a position as a new leader or in a new situation that you haven't dealt with before. And because you're in that position that's supposed to know the answer all the time. I think about it. That's the only person in a workplace who you rely on to know almost all the answers all the time, especially if you're working in a company or organization that isn't innovative by nature, right? I can understand if you work for, I don't know, say a science firm that's trying to develop a drug for cancer. It's like, yeah, we're trying to solve something that hasn't been done before. So while we might know protocols, for the most part, we're trying to invent something that hasn't been solved before. So yeah, we're always doing new things. So it's okay for me not to know the answer. But in a lot of cases, a person who's in a leadership position is looked at as the person who has all the answers. So when you're dealt a set of cards that you kind of don't know what to do with, and you find yourself about to fumble, there's a lot of pressure to begin to lie or make up stuff on the fly or jump out the plane and build the wings or a parachute on the way down. Like, you're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna figure it out. And while that's important, because I understand you may not want people to worry, I think for people who are super calculated, they can be so let down or feel misled when I'm banking on your direction and what you said to me, and then it appears that you've lied or that you've misled or manipulated. It's like, whoa, how can I possibly, even if we land safely this time, how can I trust you next time when something like this happens if I know you lied?
Facts.
That's tough. Facts. So as elementary as it may, I want you to get in on this, but as elementary as it may seem, tell the truth. Tell the truth. She dropped a bomb. Yo, that's funny. Yo, tell the truth. You have no idea how much people will respect a leader who can stand on 2 feet and say, hey, I don't know the answer yet. Let me go do my homework and come back. I don't care if you're a leader of a classroom, a leader of your kid's baseball team, a leader of whatever. Yo, sometimes it's important to tell people that I don't have all the answers, because guess what? They don't have all the answers. No one does. We're not perfect. None of us are.
Facts.
So when you can just stand and express your humility through truth, and you're not being negative, you're not worried or concerned. It's more like, well, I just want to make sure that we can get through this despite of the uncertainty that's here. Like, me not knowing the answer doesn't mean I don't think we can get through it. Me not knowing the answer is I don't want us to be misled. I don't want us to feel, I don't want to risk that loss of trust, because you can't lead people if they no longer trust you. The minute that trust is gone, they can never.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just
I
say
must
what
be
you just
talking extra good today. Nicky dropping all the sounds. Nicky dropping all the sounds. So yeah, man, in my experience, that just when it comes to leadership, and, of course, the time that I've had to deal with it the most is navigating my business in the hospitality industry when COVID hit. Like, we're a business that literally banks on people coming together and celebrating and having parties and eating, and, us doing what we do in that industry to stay in business. And having that tough conversation of just kind of telling people like, yo, there is no definitive answer right now. Here's what we can do for up to this amount of time. But beyond that, I'd love for us to be in contact, but there isn't much that we can do there. Right. And that's like, that was the final answer. But there was a phase of like, I don't know yet. I'm going to speak to accounting. I'm going to speak to here and see what solutions can come up with. So I'm saying, like, that for me was probably the time that sticks out the most of super uncertainty, but let me tell you the truth. And that way everyone can plan accordingly and we can all be good, instead of just me looking after my own interest and figuring out my situation and everybody else, jump ship and y'all do what you got to do. So yeah, the truth, man, the truth in those moments is critical. Yeah, tell us a little.
No, you better guide that one. You better guide that one. Don't leave that so open for me. Guide that one.
These comments though, I'm loving the comments today. Mook said, "I love knowing all the answers. Makes room for me to learn something new and pass it along to someone else who doesn't know." Okay. Oh, I love not knowing. My bad, I misread that, Mook. Yeah, I love not knowing all the answers. That's a good word. Zay said, "How you know they lied if you landed?" I don't know. Sometimes people get lucky. Zay.
No, there's always confirmation. Somebody, you gonna know. You gonna know. Anyways, yeah, guide that one, Moose. Got it.
Yeah, I think but the courage though, because again, for me, I think of the pressure that comes with leadership. Like, leading is not easy, whether it be for pressure or personality. And you were talking about that a couple minutes ago, when personalities clash, or when you're dealing with someone who traditionally you haven't gotten along with. There's a natural pressure that comes about to say, dang, like, I know I should tell the truth, but I just don't think they're going to respond well. Or I really don't want to lose this person. And I feel that me telling them the truth might make them step out. How do you gain the courage to still do the right thing? And by the way, these are all real life scenarios. I'm telling you, there's somebody who has been in these positions and knew the right thing is to, and that's the funny thing, right? The right thing is not always the easy thing to do. And we know this. Like, the example I always go to, of course, is food, because we know what type of foods we should be eating to be, in the best shape. But we don't always go for the healthiest options. Right? The right thing is not always to do. So I'm saying, from a leadership standpoint, how do you gain the courage to still follow through on what's right, despite of the pressure, despite of the clashes in personality, despite of whatever the circumstance may be? How do you still, gain that courage to be like, nah, I'm going to follow through on what's right?
So truth hurts, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. Truth hurts. And as a leader, you have to stand on truth. You have to. It's going to hurt some people's feelings. It's going to make some situations uncomfortable. But what you don't want under your belt is, I have to question if you're saying the truth. I have to question your leadership and how you direct this team, because you're not saying it all the way real. You're protecting certain situations, right? And you're not being upfront. For me, I respect more if you just flat out be honest. Be a hundo. Ownership is a big deal for me. Like, big deal. Like, if you mess up, own that. Own that, right? That goes with the trust part. That goes, are you speaking the truth? If you're not, if you can't own up to it and you putting blame towards other, and you're a leader and you're putting it towards other teammates, you look bogus. You look bogus. There's no reason. Own it. You are the leader for a reason, or whether you put yourself at that, then take on that, right? You have to embody the role, not parts of the role, not the good parts of it. Oh, I got people and together we make this amount of money, or we're able to accomplish these things and feed these people. Like, you're looking for the perks, but you're not necessarily looking for what really happens to get to the perks. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable situations. There's going to be a lot more downs than ups in certain seasons. You have to allow your team members to trust you and respect you through it all. They may not like you in certain situations. That's a feeling, right? They may not like you. But what they will never say is that, that person lied on me. That person blamed something else. That's a L for me. If anybody was to be like, Nicky said this was going to happen and it didn't, or gave this reason why this is not happening, and I found out really what happened. That's not, it's the little things, and some things may seem small to I don't see the big deal in that. Why are we tripping off of it? And this is where you have to be aware that you are dealing with individuals that are just not like you. And so what you may think is small is really huge to other people. And you have to put emphasis on anything that is being communicated in a slight way, in a negative way. You have to put emphasis on it, because you don't know from just being two different individuals, three different, whatever it is, you don't know how big or small that situation is. So as a leader, you have to take everything serious.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. B. Kelly, who said that? B. Kelly in the chat said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's a bar. Who said that? Are those your original words? That's a
is
that's
that
a
it?
fire. That's a bar. I love that. No, but you said it though, and you landed or stopped that communication. So I want to go there. There's a famous line by the great Jim Rohn who says, "Don't be lazy in learning." Right? That's what he says. Mm-hmm. I've always shifted it, especially when it comes to, I'll just say team. Maybe sometimes leadership is talked about a little bit too much or made more than what it is. But I think of wherever two or more are gathered, right? When people are coming together, the line that I always switch it to is, don't be lazy in communicating. Don't be lazy in communicating. And it's so easy to be lazy in communication, whether it's because we're texting and people are reading in a way that maybe you didn't. It's funny to me when you might text something to someone and they say, "Don't talk to me like that." It's like,
yeah, there's no tone to text. There's no tone to text.
Right. I feel like that needs to be like, I don't know. It needs to be on the manual, like on the top of the disclaimer for a text, something. But it's like, yo, how are you going to tell me don't talk to you like that? But I'm texting. But it just shows that people can interpret or misinterpret what's being said whenever there are different rules of communication or different methods of communication at play.
Right.
So that is, I can't stress the importance of communication. I had actually something happen, was it 2 weeks ago? Personal situation, not even business wise. And it could have really turned out very, very ugly. And when it boiled down and kind of like I went in my investigation to figure out, what created it? It was something that I that I did while I was multitasking, and I should never do it because I'm a terrible multitasker. I keep telling myself this, and I'm really getting better. But
you getting better at multitasking or not multitasking?
No. Like,
okay. I was like,
I'm just giving up on that as a goal. Right. I'm like, I'm good on multitasking. I just do one thing at a time.
I would have supported it.
I can't do it. So text something while I was multitasking, and that's what triggered the whole thing. I was like, yo.
Like text messaging leads to assumptions though. And it's not like we've even had some situations where it's like, no, I really didn't mean that.
Right.
Like, and you almost have like when you say something, you almost expect a certain response. And if it's not that response, then it's something negative. But where did that come from? Right. So like we believe a certain tone in a text is there and is not there. But text messaging, this is why I sort of like the audio notes. But you have people, keep your audio notes to 1 minute and lower. Please. Just do that. Okay? No one wants to be stuck on an app for over a minute just to hear your voice. Okay? Call it a podcast. Put it on the podcast hosting platform so they can distribute it and we can hear it there. Don't have me locked in one platform. But that's neither here nor there. Okay? But a text message will, if you do the audio note, you can hear the tone. Right? You can hear it. You can hear spicy if it's spicy. You're assuming spicy over an okay or a K.
Not the one letter K.
Yeah. K.
Dang.
You don't even say K. Like now you get mad. You don't even.
Wow.
I've never seen you put K. What are you talking about?
I've never heard you say that in real life.
Right.
Why you just say K?
Right. I'm like, I've gotten into whole arguments because somebody assumed I meant something else. Like, what?
K.
No, what are you talking about? I'm literally. Okay. All right.
Thanks can do it sometimes too. So
thank
you. Couldn't just say thank you? You're just gonna say thanks? You couldn't.
No, when you write a paragraph and the person comes with like one or two words.
Oh, that happens in real life for real.
Yeah. No doubt.
For real.
No doubt. That's
so
good.
I just gave a whole speech and that's all you're gonna say.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Triggering situations, people. Triggering situations. If we just triggered something for you off of a toxic situation, we apologize. All right. We apologize.
Yo, that's real though. No, that's real. And but again, not to even make it overly personal here, but that just shows the importance of communication.
Oh yeah.
That just shows the importance of communication. And part of it could be you're uncomfortable with the situation, so you'll just say whatever you can, and you're not even thinking about what you're saying anymore. You'll just say anything.
Yeah.
To almost make you feel as though you felt with the situation, but didn't actually do so.
Right.
Terrible. It's like terrible. Nah, communication is super important, man. Super important.
But with technology, it gets less and less.
You mean like face to face, or like
yes,
actual
it's
phone
less
call
face
type
to face.
program?
Like, it's not. I could appreciate FaceTime, but there's still a difference between FaceTime and if there is smoke in person. Like, you could somewhat get, like, boom. If I'm mad, right?
Okay.
If I'm mad, we're on FaceTime. I'll pause you real quick. Not Moose, right? But I'll pause you. Nah, hold on. I'm getting something. Hold on. I got to check something. Nah, keep talking. Right? I can avoid the situation.
Oh man.
You feel me? I can
Yeah.
avoid the situation. You FaceTime me, like, all right, no doubt. All right, hold up. Hold up. Let me do this real quick. And it's understandable from my standpoint, right? But so I could avoid, even in that situation, I can avoid in a text message. Emojis are my strong point. You know it. You've seen me. I be full blown spicy mode, and I'll be like, love to hear about it, with a smiley emoji face. And so if you add a smiley emoji, a laughter, a positive emoji, everything's great. Meanwhile, I'm steaming over here.
Broke the phone.
Smiley
Send
face.
that button.
Yeah, think everything's fine. It's not fine.
That's crazy. I'm the polar opposite though. I much rather prefer have any sort of difficult conversation in person.
You rather have it in person?
Yeah.
Oh, no. But I'm saying is, so yay and nay for me about that one. So depending who you are, I can have difficult conversations with you in person, right? If you are not to that level, I'm heated, I'm gonna type that out, because what's in my mind is not going to come out right. I just know this about myself. I may say something, and I mean very pure, but the tone of it, or because there still may be something in, like, behind the scenes going on, it just may not come out right. I'm gonna type this out. You're gonna get the gist of it. I'm gonna space it out, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with a novel. You feel me? But I'm gonna space it out so you can see the difference of the tones, and that it's calm. And I'll put disclaimers. I'm not coming at you. This is not the. If I give disclaimers, I'm trying to pour my heart out. If you will ever get any of these text messages, which I don't think majority of you will, right? If I give a disclaimer in some way, shape, and normally in the beginning or in the middle or in the end, right? The middle, last sentence of the middle. I'm trying to be calm over here. I'm trying to be calm.
Yeah. No, and shout out to what Chris wrote too. Chris said, I feel it's also that sometimes people get too comfortable with friends, relationships, etc., and it's just best to rely on respect and empathy. Chris, here's the funny thing, Chris. One of the things that I always remind myself of first and foremost is the one emotion that I'm always trying to check in any conversation, especially conversations that turn a little bit difficult, is anger, right? Because this is a major mistake that a lot of us make in communication. We might be having a conversation with someone, and because we don't feel heard, we don't feel understood, we want to get our point across no matter what we're saying, we think that getting angry or speaking just in a louder tone is automatically going to make people better understand what you tried saying before. Where quite honestly, if you can keep control of your emotions and do the polar opposite of that, and kind of switch into more of what you're saying right there, right? Like a little more empathetic kind of approach, and saying, well, hang on a second. Let me explain this to you for a second. Let me just talk this out, right? It's like almost that whisper forces someone to have to slow down a little bit to listen to what you got to say. So you can still say some pretty harsh, direct, aggressive things. Mm-hmm. But if anger's in check, people will understand where you're going, and they'll really take you serious because they know that you can control your emotions. But it's not becoming a fight. And I feel that that's where a lot of relationships, either at work or wherever it may be, kind of go wrong. It's because we go from no longer having a conversation to being into some form of battle or fight, all because of anger. Somebody spiked up with the emotions. So the one thing for me, man, is I'm always reminding myself, leave out anger and stay focused on a solution. One of the things I know you do a phenomenal job of is sticking to the facts. You do a good job of that. I sometimes will kind of blend facts in with everything else, and not and forget that that's still, at the end of the day, the most important thing. So I'll mix in emotions with facts, with whatever else I need to mix in if I feel it's going to get me closer to a solution. And the intent is good,
right?
But there are a lot of people who respond much better to just the facts of the situation because it doesn't have all of the color. It's just, hey, here's what's black, here's what's white. How can we meet in the middle? As opposed to you taking all the rainbow colors and trying to mix them together to create this wonderful creation, which you think will bring to a solution. But for some people, it's like, but that's still not true. Like, that's not valid. I'm not convinced.
So you said my trigger something, so I'm gonna say it in this kind of way, right? So it's okay to have feelings involved as long as it's backed by facts. Mm-hmm. So we're human, and as humans, we're going to have some type of emotions, right? Regardless of how close or non-close you are with the individual, you're human. Certain things are going to trigger you to make you feel a certain kind of way. Now, is the feeling valid? What makes it valid? Besides, I felt that, like, I feel you were going to do it. But what are the facts that made you feel that way? Or did you just assume? Because are we assuming and now we feel this way? Or did certain events happen that clearly shows that this is a valid feeling? That's where it's a strategic not a strategic battle, but it's like, I can say this is how I feel because I'm more of a reaction person than just pure, oh my God, I feel like you don't like me. You didn't talk to me all day. And I feel because you normally do, things are bad. Right. This is bad. Mind you in a hospital, and it's the only reason why you didn't talk to me, right? That's not facts. That's just you in your vibes, right? But if you could back it by like, well, look, you said this, and I didn't know about this on this particular day at this particular time. These individuals knew about it. I clearly didn't. You valid to have that feeling. My bad. Because when I fact check this comes through correctly. So you can come with feelings and facts as long as they align.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, the thing that I've been noticing, that's a common mistake. And I always talk about me because I feel like no one's feelings could get hurt, right? It's like, talk about myself. If it connects with you, then hey, it's coincidence. Look at God. Look at God.
Right.
Shout out. Yo. But I'm noticing that whenever that happens, like, like that example that you just made, like, we usually talk every day. I didn't talk to you and you don't love me anymore, but oh wow, you almost died in the hospital. Okay, well, I guess that changes things. And
How are you?
Yeah. So is everything okay?
I was just mad at you, but
right.
How are you?
Yeah, how are things going? I feel that anytime we overly respond emotionally to a situation, anytime I overly respond emotionally to a situation, quiet as kept is because I'm being selfish and self-centered. And I'm making everything about me that I'm taking things a lot more personal than they need to be.
We're only
And
child.
I feel, right,
It's okay.
certainly.
It's okay. I do this. I definitely do the same thing. So I'm not even going to let you just continue and be like, me. You can say we. You can say we on this one. You can say us.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? You can say us. I'm okay with that. I am the same way.
I told you, I talk about myself and other people connect. It works.
Oh yeah, no. That's a only child syndrome. Yeah.
No, but it that does tend to create a lot of like, say, awkward moments in relationships because people are more so almost confused as to why you might be so upset at something that they look at as relatively common. And I had to get to the root of, what is the disconnect here? Why is this something that continues to happen? I was like, oh, I think you might be taking things. And I've always misunderstood the word or the phrase taking things personal. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't think of it as that. But now I'm like, no. When you find yourself overly responding to a situation, because again, things are a lot easier said than done. If you were to double down and just be like, am I only considering myself in this moment right now? And I bet 9 out of 10 times, heck, minimum 8 out of 10 times, you're going to find the answer to be yes. Yeah, I'm probably making this a little bit too much about me and not about everybody else. And if I'm a leader, us matters more than just, the individual or you as the one in that role or position. So that's my 2 cents.
It's fact. So sum it up. Don't lie. Lead, don't boss. Take ownership. Communicate. Tell the truth. Communicate. We didn't speak on patience, but patience is another one. Have patience. You know what I mean? I'm going to double back on the don't lie. Okay. Don't do that.
It's important.
And lay in the bed you laid in.
What's that mean? Can we extend like another 3 minutes?
You want
What's
to?
that mean?
Okay.
Yeah, just give me a definition for that. Lay in the bed you laid in.
Yeah. So, leaders are going to make mistakes. Right? Goes with the ownership part. Own it. And then lay in the bed you laid in. Like, literally deal with what happened with the mistake that you made. Don't think, I could patch it up. I say sorry. We're good, right? No. Lay in that. It's okay. You as a leader has to come up with a new solution. You're going to make mistakes. That isn't going to be the best for the totality of a brand, a company, a project, an individual. It's okay. Just lay in it. It's perfectly fine. It'll be better once you lay in it.
I like that. Own it. Own it.
I'm just saying.
I like that.
But people, we are out. Shout out to Moose for this great conversation. I did this like YouTube boot camp thing. Shout out to Sean Ken on the Think Media people, right? We had to come up with like 5 different topics. So I have 5 topics that could possibly be alive or possibly be part of the podcast, which will relieve Moose a little bit of the Tuesday thing. You know what I mean?
That.
We're going to be a little bit more organized. You know what I mean? A little bit more organized. Thinking a little ahead. So next couple of lives are going to be fire and step by step and all that great stuff, even though the conversations are amazing. Shout out to CJ. She said this was an amazing conversation because it's our life.
Appreciate that.
It's our life. Anyways, we're out. Go check out the podcast. All right. Listen to the podcast, whether you are listening at night, in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever you want to do. Wednesdays, the full video drops. So go do that. Watch that. If you like this live, share it. Okay. We're planning this 100th episode. So what I need you to do Go in the comments. Don't go in the chat. Go in the comments. What would you like for the 100th episode? We're taking some feedback. We're taking, you know what I mean? We may apply one or two things. So whatever you may think for the 100th episode, don't say interview Kanye. Okay? Shout out to my mom. My mom's like, yo. No, my mom's cute.
That would be fire.
I don't know if she's still watching because she already texted me, right? Because she already did the really good episode. My mom always does this like late night, like after we're done with the live, she'll give us a summary of how it was, right? My mom's like, oh, y'all going to Invest Fest? Yo, ask Rick Ross to shout you out for the 100th episode.
I like that. That's a good idea.
I said, Ma, I had a dream. You were talking to Kanye or Rick Ross. I don't remember, but I had a dream. Wow. I was like, all right, Mom. All right.
Speak it.
Listen, I ain't mad at it. My mom's like,
I'll take it.
My mom's dope. Anyways, we love you.